The deadliest drug in Colorado is one people often don't know that they're taking. A look at the spike in fentanyl deaths and the decision I made today to be prepared to save a life.
My name is Sheila Muniz, and I'm with King Soopers, Table Mesa, Store 33, Boulder, Colorado.
Boulder gained strength by talking about what happened. The reason the express lane to the mountains wasn't open on this holiday morning. And the day that political rage clogged an emergency dispatch center in Colorado.
Don't you feel embarrassed for your department that you did that and operated in that activity?
I'm never embarrassed for our department.
We have the tapes of what happened when a conspiracy theory ended up getting in the way of police business. Next. Fentanyl is killing Coloradans, half of the state's drug overdose deaths last year. The 5 people found dead in a home in Commerce City last night. Fentanyl, likely unknown to the people who thought that they were taking another drug. Police say these deaths are at epic proportions. The governor's calling on the state legislature to increase penalties for fentanyl dealers. Prosecutors say it's likely that the 5 adults found dead in Commerce City didn't know that another drug they were using, possibly cocaine, was laced with fentanyl, which can also be put in counterfeit pills. Colorado had a record 1,659 overdoses last year. Fentanyl accounted for nearly half of them, 49% of last year's overdose deaths, compared to 37% in 2020. Democratic Governor Jared Polis is joining bipartisan calls to reevaluate Colorado's drug laws to account for how tiny amounts of fentanyl can kill, to hold dealers to harsher penalties. The governor supported changing Colorado law 3 years ago to make the possession of small amounts of drugs a misdemeanor instead of a felony. But that small amount of fentanyl, if divided and dealt, could result in untold deaths. I decided today to start carrying Narcan, and I'd like to ask you to consider it as well. It's a simple thing we can do to save lives as fentanyl kills hundreds of Coloradans a year. The city of Denver is now mailing Narcan to any resident who asks for it. So I asked today, watched the 5-minute video, took another minute to fill out the form to get it. All across Colorado, you can ask for Narcan at a pharmacy and get it without a prescription. If you or someone you love uses drugs, Denver is also offering fentanyl test strips. Narcan, though, is simple. If you happen to be around somebody who's having an opioid overdose, you can administer Narcan as easily as you do an allergy spray and potentially save their life. And it can't hurt them or someone else accidentally. We learned how to do the Heimlich maneuver on the off chance that we could someday use it to save a life. Same thing with CPR. I'm going to carry Narcan. Ask you to consider it too. Recent arrests of Mesa County Clerk Tina Peters overwhelmed emergency dispatchers with right-wing rage. Call after call jamming their 911 lines. Our Steve Steger got recordings of the calls, which echo election rigging conspiracy claims about communists and Nazis.
This is Gerald.
Yeah, I just want to say you're thugs and criminals.
It took a few hours.
I'm just calling up to voice my opinion.
A few hours after Mesa County Clerk Tina Peters was arrested, the Grand Junction Police Dispatch Center resembled a call-in radio show.
Dispatch is Melissa.
Hi, Melissa. So I'm calling you from Chicago because I just saw a video of Tina Peters being detained. And it was embarrassing.
Things got so bad that by the evening of February 8th, Grand Junction PD posted online asking people to stop.
I used to back the blue, and I always thought the sheriff's departments throughout the country were the best and everybody else were crap. Well, what they did to Tina Peters today was outrageous. When did they become a communist?
Hello?
Call after call.
I want to talk to whoever the hell put those handcuffs on that nice woman. I saw it on the television. I can't believe it. I'm a Colorado resident, and I'm furious.
These calls started to come in after 3 p.m., according to the log, right after Steve Bannon interviewed Colonel Sean Smith, one of the leaders of election fraud conspiracies in Colorado.
The police should be ashamed of themselves.
The callers started parroting what they heard on Bannon's show.
This is the use of state violence by tyrants.
I'm just ashamed that police departments are the arms of tyrants these days.
I got news for the Gestapo. I got news for you. You're not going to break Tina Peters.
Is this some Nazi headquarters?
It's not.
So it's not a safe way to make a comment. It's not an appropriate use of resources.
Callie Berkson with the Grand Junction Police Department says these comments jam the lines for people who actually have emergencies.
Those people who need those resources, they're not going to be able to get into our 911 communications center.
Dispatchers handled it all with grace in the midst of screams and threats made by people who sound like they're complaining about an overcooked steak.
Very simple, very simple. I want to talk to the sergeant at arms and make that decision who sent them over there, or I'm going to put your number on the internet. You get 1,000 calls tonight.
Everybody already has our numbers. It's public information.
Public information. I feel like I was always taught that you could get in serious trouble if you call 911 and it's not an emergency. In this case, people were calling the non-emergency number since many of them were from out of town, couldn't call 911 anyway. Today, Berkson told me the only way to really charge someone for misusing emergency services like that is if they make a false report. Grand Junction's had some problems with this in big incidents in the past where they've had people calling their 911 dispatch center. They've actually had to set up a complaint line where people can call and voice their complaints or any other sort of message they might have for the police department. So they do get some compliments for police officers on that line, too.
You could hear some people working out the cognitive dissonance of back the blue, except for when they come for the politician that I like.
Several callers into that dispatch center said, hey, I support police officers. I just don't support them doing this. And it's really interesting when you watch that full interview with Steve Bannon, you hear Colonel Smith saying, like, police officers, don't do this. Don't be an arm for the tyrants who are trying to take these people in. Very interesting to hear that distance.
Yeah, revolutionary type language which just seeped into the political discourse, and you hear people parroting it. Steve, thank you. Hey, we're on track for Colorado's COVID-19 test positivity rate to go under 5% for the first time in 6 months. That would be huge because that's the point where public health experts consider the virus to be under control within a community. Because of the holiday weekend, we have to look back at last week's trajectory. No new numbers today. On Friday, 5.8% of tests were coming back positive. That is the lowest rate since last August. You work, you get paid. Except for the second time in a few months, we've heard from Medicaid providers who serve some of the state's most vulnerable to say that they're working and not getting paid for it. So for the second time in a few months, our Marshall Zellinger is following the money.
Email inboxes can be, well, overwhelming.
I wake up and get 30 denials in my inbox.
There's no denying the inbox for Counselor Sybil Cummin is a bit more frustrating.
I received an email today stating that they have not fixed the problem and that they're not sure how long it will take for me to get paid.
Cummin's practice works with a lot of children from foster care. The Medicaid denials she's receiving are for legit services. CCHA, Colorado Community Health Alliance, which handles Medicaid for these 8 counties, had an issue this month paying counselors for specific services. For instance, a 30-minute appointment. The Client Services Director for CCHA tells me it was a 10-day system issue that is now resolved with claims being reprocessed.
I have actually had to look into maybe getting a small business loan so that I can continue to cover payroll and cover health insurance for my team. This is actually the first year I have ever thought about ending my contract with Medicaid.
No money. This latest round has been since the end of January.
This is the second time Carla D'Agostino-Vigil has dealt with claims issues with CCHA. Late last year, CCHA sought reimbursement from 199 counselors for services the therapists said they provided, but CCHA could not verify. After coverage by us and the Colorado Sun, CCHA stopped seeking the money back.
We serve those that are struggling with obsessive compulsive disorder, trauma and PTSD, and substance use disorders are our specialties.
In October last year, D'Agostino-Vigil gave CCHA 6 months' notice that she was no longer going to serve its Medicaid clients. CCHA wants her to reconsider. At the same time, she's waiting for payment.
My team and I are not accepting new Medicaid clients. Our most vulnerable are going without adequate care.
Both counselors in the story signed a letter sent to state lawmakers and the state's healthcare policy office asking for a no-interest loan fund to bridge the gap when issues like this happen. The Client Services Director for CCHA tells me these claims are being processed and that they're still considered on-time payments if they're made within 30 days.
This goes beyond just people getting paid for the work they do, because if they opt out of this system, there's a whole bunch of folks who could be in a world of hurt.
D'Agostino Vigil told me, for example, for OCD clients, if she leaves, another option is UC Health, which she got an email saying UC Health has a months-long backlog. And so if that's the provider and there's no other providers, you're either waiting for the services or you're not seeking the services.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're glad that you're on it. Marshall Zellinger looking downright professorial today. Thank you, Marshall. There's a lot of messed up stuff happening, Colorado, around the world, but every week you all do something great for our neighbors, something to feel good about. So I wanted to update you. Your latest Word of Thanks microgiving campaign raised $28,000 for the nonprofit Kids in Need of Dentistry, KIND. They provide low-cost or no-cost dental care to children across our state so that those kids can be pain-free and able to focus on school and just able to have fun being a kid. Your $5 donations have raised $8 million for Colorado's nonprofits since 2020. So I'll be back with our next idea on Wednesday. Boulder is choosing to put the pain of last year out in the open, to heal as a community, to recognize their strength.
The people are grateful that some of us are able to talk about and come back to our community and to Table Mesa and work again.
And a reminder that the antlers that we find out hiking are not free home decor. A lesson in Coloradoing next. People heading to and from the high country for the President's Day holiday today found themselves in bumper-to-bumper traffic. That is no surprise. But a number of them, including some Next viewers, Stacy among them, were wondering why the express lane wasn't open on I-70. That would have helped, right? Stacy emailed this morning with this photo of the eastbound express lane closed, saying, what's the purpose of the lane if we don't use it on long holiday weekends like this? CDOT said the lane did open, but late this morning, like around 11:30. Typically, the lane is supposed to open at 9 a.m. CDOT says a contractor was doing some work on the shoulder of the express lane, so that's why they had to keep it closed. Not ideal on a holiday morning.
Well, you probably noticed it. A cold front moved its way out through and it dropped temperatures by 25 degrees in 45 minutes. Went from 55 down to 30 between 10:40 and 11:25 this morning, and those temperatures continue to tumble. But more importantly, it's those wind chills, what you actually feel on your skin as you step outside. Below zero for us by tomorrow morning here in Denver and throughout much of eastern Colorado, even into the mountains. A lot of areas dealing with wind chills in the single digits and teens. Snow continues for us here as we head over the kind of next 2 to 3 days or so. It's going to be a consistent light snowfall event for the most part, but we could get some heavier bursts of snow into the Denver area. Probably more tomorrow night when we see, I think, the heaviest snowfall for us here into the Denver area. And once all is said and done, this is the full week's worth of snowfall, 4 to 8 inches in Denver, more towards the foothills on the west side of town. 7-day forecast. Well, we get those temperatures finally to climb back up by Saturday and Sunday.
The antlers that we find out on hikes this winter and spring might look decent mounted on your wall at home. Quick Colorado reminder, you're not allowed to take them home with you. Colorado Parks and Wildlife sent out their annual reminder that you cannot collect shed antlers on public lands west of I-25 between beginning of January and end of April. You're thinking that sounds awfully specific, January, April. The idea is to protect big game from unnecessary human interaction. Elk and deer typically shed their antlers late winter months, and that's the time where they're kind of in basic survival mode. And the idea is CPW doesn't want them trying to get away from humans because we're coming through to collect their antlers. Can stress the animals, put them in danger. CPW says they typically see an increase this time of year. People will go out and search for antlers in big game winter ranges in Colorado. So again, this rule is for any public lands west of I-25. It's a $137 fine for harassing wildlife if you get too close. More fines if they catch you with the antler. In a month, the Boulder community will mark 1 year since the grocery store shooting that turned a place of neighborhood togetherness into a place of great loss.
It's just a horrible thing, how somebody would destroy our store and our people.
A new exhibit offers people a chance to heal through being seen and heard. That's next. Month from tomorrow marks 1 year since the murder of 10 people at the grocery store in Boulder. The people killed were employees, customers, friends, family members. They hold a special place in the collective heart of that community, one that's been trying its hardest to heal in the 11 months since. Here's why Boulder is choosing to put what happened front and center.
Oh, there's Heather. It's just a horrible thing, you know, about how somebody would destroy our store and our people. My name is Sheila Muniz, and I'm with King Soopers, Table Mesa, store 33.
Isn't that cute?
It's really cute. My best friend's boy was shot in the store, Denny Strong.
This is Boulder Strong, Still Strong, which is the one-year anniversary exhibit after the shooting last March. My name is Chelsea Pennington Hahn, and I'm the Curator of Collections at the Museum of Boulder. So it's a mix of portraits taken by Ross Taylor, who's a photographer and professor at CU Boulder.
We had our pictures here, and I wanted to come and see them.
A few of the artifacts that we picked up from the memorial fence that cropped up in the months after.
I know a lot of these people, they all call me Mom. My name is Shirley Soper. I'm Sheila Menez's mother. All the counseling and everything she's been doing, I've been going with her. I thought that's the least I could do.
Just sort of capture all the people who were connected to the event in some way, but also everyone on those outer rings who you maybe don't think of when you're thinking of the event itself. It was really both of our hopes was that people who are involved in it can feel seen and feel heard.
Yeah, there's Jen. The people are grateful that some of us are able to talk about and come back to our community and to Table Mesa and work again.
I hope that it is affirming to them that, you know, their story really matters, and that, again, we wish this wasn't part of their story, but we're really, really grateful to them for being vulnerable and really generous and sharing that with us.
We have to be grateful for what we have, because things could be so much worse.
We knew that it was a part of Boulder's history, and as much as we wish it wasn't, it's our role as a museum to preserve that.
I hope they're honored by our personal drama, and that they will come out thinking that we're all in it together, and to be kind to each other.
The Boulder Strong, Stay Strong exhibit just opened last week. It'll be on display through mid-April. The museum says it's designed to be a tool for reflection, story generating, and healing. An ice fishing trip that really got away from somebody. And your strong feedback about Narcan next. Forgetting to weigh the tent down on a windy day ice fishing? That's not how you Colorado. That's how you end up chasing your tent across the lake. You hear that wind out at Chatfield Reservoir a couple of weeks ago. Olga and her family were out walking on the trail above the reservoir, and they saw what looks like two people hustling after a runaway tent. I'm sorry, but that's funny. Lessons on proper ways to Colorado or not to are always welcome. Videos, emails to next@9news.com, or you can hit us up on Twitter with the hashtag #HeyNext. A lot of very strong feedback tonight about the idea of carrying Narcan to potentially prevent a drug overdose and why I'm going to choose to carry it. Kate writes in to say that she's been harassed by people near her home in Denver that she believes are on drugs, and she wrote, "Maybe you want to save the garbage. I say let nature take its course." Jane writes in, "My son was a drug addict. Last summer he went missing. Drug overdose. I keep Narcan in my glove box. Thank you for sharing this info." I guess I would say this to Kate and others. When you see somebody in an emergency situation, you can judge or you can help, but you probably can't do both at the same time. I would hate to be in that situation. See you next time.